Hello and welcome back to Miss Hasna's Literary Corner. Today we're going to continue reviewing some math concepts as well as English language arts with polar bear math. And we're learning about fractions from Klondike and Snow. And these were a pair of really famous polar bears several years ago. They were famous when I was a kid. But, like I said, they were real polar bears, so that's why there are some real pictures here. Introduction. Most people never see newborn polar bear cubs because they stay in a den with their mother until they are 3 or 4 months old. But when a polar bear mother at the Denver Zoo abandoned her cubs, the public got to witness their struggle to survive from the day they were born. This book uses charts and recipes for bear milk to help tell the story of Klondike and Snow, 2 polar bears who were hand-raised at the Denver Zoo. If you want to read the story of the bear cubs without the math, you can read only the right-hand pages of this book. Then to learn more and see how the fractions were used while raising the bears, you can look at the left-hand pages as well. So this tells you how to use the book, but of course we're going to be looking at both. And I can see here again it's really small, but the copyright is 2004. So yeah, this was definitely like over 15 years ago. Ulu, like 2/3 of all polar bear mothers, had twin bear cubs. So that means only 2/3 of all polar bears have twin bear cubs, so not all of them do. Early one November morning at the Denver Zoo, a polar bear named Ulu gave birth to 2 baby bears. She cleaned them off, then left them lying on the cold cement floor of the hallway that led to her den. When Gary, the polar bear keeper, came to work, he heard soft crying. Gary could see that Ulu was in her den, but there were 2 small shapes in the hallway. When he looked closer, he found the newborn polar bear twins that Ulu had abandoned. Gary tucked the babies inside his jacket and rushed them to the zoo hospital. Mother polar bears. A fraction is a part of a whole, or a part of a group or set. Here is a set of animals, 3 mother bears. Each mother bear is 1 part or a fraction of the set. 3 mother bears. The total number of equal parts in a set is always on the bottom of the fraction and is called the denominator. The number of parts you are dealing with is always on the top of the fraction and is called the numerator. On average, 2 out of every 3 mother polar bears have twin babies. We can show this with the fraction below. In this fraction, the denominator is 3 because there are 3 bears in the set, and the numerator is 2 because 2 of the bears in this set have twins. So a lot of polar bear moms, meaning probably or definitely over the majority, have twins. This amount does not. Of the 3 mother bears, 1 does not have twins. We can show this with the fraction below. In this fraction, the denominator is still 3, but the numerator is 1 because 1 bear does not have twins. So this is the amount that does not have twins, and this is the amount that does. So 2/3 or 2/3 of all mother polar bears have twins, while 1/3 or 1/3 of all mother bears do not have twins. Klondike is only a few hours old. Dr. Kenny, the zoo veterinarian, examined the cubs. They had fine white hair covering their pink skin, and their eyes were closed. They weighed slightly over 1 pound each, a typical weight for newborn polar bears. Gary, the keeper, named the male cub Klondike and the female cub Snow. Klondike had a cut on his head, possibly caused by Olna picking him up in her mouth to move him. Both cubs were frail and very cold. Dr. Kenny didn't think they would live. and frail means really weak and fragile. However, he asked Cindy, a veterinary technician, to take care of the bears because she had raised many baby animals. The bears were put in a human infant incubator to raise their body temperatures. Several hours later, when Klondike had warmed up, Dr. Kenny stitched the cut on his head. So I'm guessing the cut was like right here. And an incubator is like a small kind of container that helps keep things warm. So baby animals aren't the only things that can be incubated. Eggs can be, baby humans can as well, and it helps keep their body temperature up. Common denominators. Fractions that have the same denominators are said to have common denominators. It is easy to add fractions if they have common denominators. You can simply add the numerators. The denominator does not change. In the example below, the two fractions from page 8 are added together. So because we had 2/3 and 1/3, since our denominators are the same, we can add these. 2/3 plus 1/3 equals, we only add our numerators. Our denominator stays the same, and this gives us a whole. In the resulting fraction, both the numerator and the denominator are 3. When the numerator and the denominator are the same, a fraction is equal to 1, or 1 whole set. So this equals 1 whole set of mother bears. Cindy gives Snow milk through a feeding tube. Because the cubs were very weak, Cindy fed them sugar water at first. Soon they would need milk. But what formula would be just right for polar bear cubs? Cindy did some research and learned that polar bear milk looks like heavy cream, smells fishy, and is high in fat. When zoos have to make milk for a baby bear, they use puppy milk formula because it's most like mother bear's milk. So Cindy mixed puppy milk with half and half is half milk and half cream, as you can see from the parentheses, for extra fat. Then added cod liver oil and vitamins. And cod liver oil not only helps give vitamins, but it would also make it smell fishy. That night, Cindy took the twins home with her. She didn't sleep at all. She was too busy tube feeding milk to the cubs, cleaning them and checking on every little cry. When dawn came, the small bears were still clinging to life. So this little tube is how they were having to get the bears to drink the milk. Making polar bear milk. Cindy used a recipe to make polar bear milk. She mixed 1 cup of puppy milk with 2 cups of half and half to create a whole of 3 cups. Since the whole amount was in 3 equal parts, you could say 1 part or 1/3 of this was puppy milk. 2 parts or 2/3 were half and half. After the milk was mixed, cod liver oil and vitamins were added. So again, since our denominators are the same, we can add 1/3 plus 2/3, and that gets us our whole. That gets us our 3 cups that they made. At first, the cubs needed to eat every 2 hours or 12 times a day. Dr. Kenny, Cindy, and Denny, another veterinary technician, took turns bringing them home at night. Every 3rd night, it was Cindy's turn. At 5 o'clock, she put the 2 bears into a box padded with fleece to keep them warm, packed lots of bottles of milk, and loaded the cubs, their food, and a portable incubator into her car. Oh, there we go. And a portable incubator into her car. Once home, she unpacked, made dinner, then fed and cleaned the bears. Snow was no trouble. She drank her bottle and went right back to sleep. But Klondike screamed a lot. So the cubs snuggled together in the incubator. And again, this is to help keep them warm. Dividing a month into 3 parts. To figure out how many times a month Cindy took the bears home with her, we can circle every third day on the calendar below. By counting the circle days, we can see that Cindy took the bears home 10 times in a month that is 30 days long. So again, every 3 days. So 1, 2, 3, circle. 1, 2, 3, circle. The chart below shows that this month can be divided into 3 equal parts of 10 days each. Each part is equal to 1/3, or 1/3 of the month. So Cindy, Denny, and Dr. Kenny each spent 1/3 of the month taking care of the bears at night. So this is just breaking their calendar into parts. After 2 weeks, the cubs' weight had doubled. Snow was doing well, but Klondike had a tight, swollen belly. He didn't seem to be digesting the milk he was being fed. Dr. Kenny ran some tests and consulted with other doctors. They decided not to add cod liver oil to the milk anymore, but to use safflower oil instead. The doctors also felt that the bears were drinking too much milk. With a smaller amount of the new milk, Klondike started to feel better. He was still fussy at night, so sometimes Cindy put him in a sleeping bag with her and let him suck on her finger. As the cubs' fur grew thicker, their bodies stayed warm enough outside the incubator. Both of them liked to sleep on Cindy's pillow. So Klondike, and these are captions again. And Klondike drinks all the milk in his bottle. Twelfths and Thirds. When Klondike and Snow were 2 weeks old, they each drank 12 bottles of milk in 1 full day. Since one bear's daily portion of milk, the set, was 12 bottles, each bottle was 1/12, or spelled 1/12, of the set. So our denominator is 12 because that's how many they drank in a day. The chart below shows that 1/12 is a smaller fraction than 1/3. When the denominator is a bigger number, the whole amount is divided into more parts, so each part is smaller. You can see that the fraction 4/12 is equal to 1/3. These two equal fractions are called equivalent fractions. By the way, I'm pretty sure there's an equivalent fraction on this side, because if there's 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so it would be 10 over 30. Yeah, so there's definitely an equivalent fraction, because 30 would be our denominator, because that's how many total we have. 10 is how many days that she is actually with the bears, and if we reduce that by dividing by 10, that equals 1/3. So that is definitely an equivalent fraction. When the bears were 1 month old, they slept in a wooden box together. Klondike liked to be near Snow. He pulled himself over to his sister and sucked on her paws, or on her paw. Then he would continue moving around, climbing on top of Snow or burrowing underneath her. Sometimes Snow acted like she was in pain, crying out between feedings. She didn't like it when Klondike touched her. Cindy began to worry that Snow was too quiet and inactive. Dr. Kenny took x-rays of the bears. The x-rays showed that both bears had tiny breaks in many of their bones. Klondike and Snow had a disease called rickets. Shh, the cubs are sleeping at last. 8ths and 12ths. By the time Klondike and Snow were 1 month old, they drank more milk, but they were fed less often. In a full day, each bear drank 8 bottles of milk instead of 12. For each bear, the whole amount or set was now 8 bottles, so one bottle was 1/8, or spelled 1/8 of the set. You can see that on the chart below that 1/12, or spelled 1/12, is a smaller fraction than 1/8. So these are small or smaller, and obviously they don't break evenly, so about 1.5 of 12th will go into the eighths. Who says it's bedtime? And we'll come back for the next part later.